Welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys a lot. Today I'm going to be showing you how to draft a dolman style fitted and gown. So you could see the picture up there. It is a so you could see I'm just going to give a quick explanation of it. So you could see the sleeve is like an extended sleeve, an extended shoulder. So the shoulder is going to be extended up to this point. Then before the sleeve was actually fixed. So that's just literally what was done to that gown. So today I'm going to show you how to draft it in a very quick way, and then you could use your patterns to cut out your fabric. So that's just what we're going to be doing. So if you have not subscribed already, please do that, subscribe, and then hit on the notification bell to get an update. It actually takes nothing, so just hit on it right now. So I have my pattern papers cut out. I have two pattern papers. This one is for the back piece, and then this one I'm going to be using for the front and piece. So I have some lines that I've marked out on it in order to save us a lot of time. So the first line, this first line I'm just going to be using it as my startup line. So this is my shoulder line, and then this is the bust line that I'm using. So from the shoulder to bust is I'm using 10 inches. So this is my bust line, and then I have my waist under bust line, and then I have my waistline, which is 16 inches. So this gown is actually an half cut gown. So it has a cut from the half cut, then before the pencil skirt was now added to it on the down part. But however, you could decide to make it straight. If you don't want to cut it, you could decide to make it that way. And this gown, you could decide to make it as a bustier. You could decide to make it as a normal waist and darted or princess dart and pattern. So that is just that. So now we're going to start drafting. So I'm just going to keep the back piece on the side and then work with the front piece. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure out the shoulder, and the shoulder that I'm using is 14 inches. So when you divide 14 into 2, for the sake of beginners, you divide your shoulder measurement into 2. You have 7 inches. But because of the nature of this kind of sleeve, because the sleeve is extended, the shoulder is extended, that will form the beginning part of the sleeve. So you are going to add like at least 4 inches. So you measure. If for instance, if your shoulder measurement is stopping here, you are going to measure how much extension you want. That's where you want it to extend to. So for this, I'm going to be using 4 inches extension. That's from this point to this point. It's going to be 4 inches before I'll now fix the balloon sleeve from this point. That's the balloon part of the sleeve. So the shoulder will extend, and then the sleeve will now start. So I'm just going to add 4 inches to it. So this is my 4 inches extension. Then I'll use 1 inch stitching allowance to it. So from this point now, I'm going to measure you're going to measure your sleeve opening. That's this point. That's your round sleeve. That's what you are going to measure. Your round sleeve. So you measure. So for mine, what I'm using for this one is 10 inches. So you divide 10 into 2, you have 5 inches. So I'm just going to take it like this. I'll add 5 inches, and then I'll add 1 inch as my allowance. So this is my sleeve extension point. So I'm going to mark it out like this now. So this is my sleeve extension. So this is like the sleeve extension. So from this sleeve extension, from the extension of your shoulder, I'm going to measure out 1 inch. You could do half an inch, and then I'm going to slant it to make it as my shoulder slant, shoulder slope. So this is my shoulder slope, and then this is my sleeve opening. So from this point, I'm going to we're going to continue. So I'm just going to leave it here. So this is my sleeve opening. From here to here is my sleeve opening. So I'm just going to mark it like this. So I'll come back to it. So now we'll start measuring out the body part. So the first thing, I'm going to put my dart, and in darting, I'll just use my normal waist and dart. So you should know how to dart. Now for those of you that don't know how to dart, you can watch my basic bodies video, body sloper rather. So you should know how to insert that into your patterns. So I've marked out and the dart. So the next thing I'm going to mark out my bodies and measurements. So the first measurement I'm going to mark out now is the bust measurement, and the bust measurement that I'm using is 34 inches. So when you divide 34 into 4, you have 8.5 inches. So this is my 8.4, and then I'll add my 1 inch dart allowance that I took out for the dart, and then I'll add my allowance to it. So from this point now, I'm going to come like this. I'm going to measure 1 inch in like this, inwards like this. So I'm just going to take it like this. So it's going to be like a slant, or rather slope. So I'm just going to connect it. I'm going to connect it like this to my measurement. So I could use my pattern curve to do that. So this is my bust measurement now. So the next measurement that I'm going to measure out now is the under bust measurement, which is 30 inches. I'll include my dart allowance. So the next one is the waist measurement. I'm using 32, which is 8 inches. So this is my pattern. So the next thing I'm going to do now, before I cut it out, I'm going to measure out on the neck line, because the back, okay, I'll cut out the back and the front first. So I'm just going to place on the back of my pattern like this. So this is my back pattern, and then I'll cut it out. So I'll cut out on my shoulder slope now. So I have my back pattern and my front pattern. So the next thing that I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to be cutting out the neckline. And in cutting out the neckline, so you could see that it is a V neckline, both the back and the front. It's a wide V neckline that is going to extend to the shoulder part. So I'm going to use my shoulder and measurement to cut out the neckline. So I'm just going to take so for the neckline, so I'm going to be using 6, since my shoulder measurement is actually 7 inches, I'll use 6.5 as the shoulder line, as the neckline. So you could see the neckline, it's extended into the shoulders. So from this point now, I'm just going to measure how deep I actually want my neckline to be. So for this, I'm going to be making use of 6 inches. So this is 6 inches. So I'm just going to mark it to this point, so I'll be able to slant my V properly. So this is my 6 inches. So I'm going to be slanting it to this point now. So from this point, I'm slanting it to this point. So the back and neckline and the front neckline, I'm going to be cutting both of them the same. Okay, so before I cut off, I'm just going to do a quick explanation for you. You know that my shoulder measurement is actually 7 inches, and I stopped on the neckline at 6.5 inches. The essence of stopping it at 6.5 inches is, at the time you cut out the neckline, when you stitch and sew, it's going to still fall back to 7 inches. But if you cut it at 7 inches now, by the time you sew and stitch, it will come back to like 7.5 inches. So that's why it's better for you to leave it like half an inch before your actual sleeve and before your actual shoulder measurement. That's the neckline width. So I'm going to cut it out now. I hope you understand. So this is how it's meant to be. So from this point now, this is where we're going to add in our sleeve. That's the round and ball sleeve. It's going to be attached on this point. If you want it extended more, so you could decide to go add as much as 5 inches. So the next thing I'm going to do now, cut out the down part of the gown. So in cutting out the skirt, so I have my basic lines already laid out here already. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to use, so this first one, this is my waistline, my hip line, and then this is the hem line. That's the down part of the fitted gown. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm just going to insert my measurement. This is just like a basic pencil skirt. So I'm just going to measure it out now. So I'm measuring out the waist and measurement, which is 32 inches. So the easiest way for you to do this for beginners, you just measure this point and then you use it to cut it out. So that's 9 inches. So I'm just going to measure 9 inches here. And then I'll add 1 inch allowance to it. So I'm just going to, and then for the hip and line, the hip is actually 38 inches of, 38 inches. So I'm just going to add between 2 and 3 inches allowance to it because of the dart. So the next measurement is the down part of your gown. So you could actually measure, depends on how wide. So but the easiest way for you to do this is you just reduce your hip measurement by 2 inches. So I'm just going to roll it out. So I'm going to use this pattern both for the back and the front. So the back, I'm just going to extend it. So insert my dart now. So I'm going to cut it out. So when I'm cutting this on fabric, I'm just going to place this on my fabric. I'll cut one piece for the front, and then the back piece I'll add 1.5 inches allowance to cut out the back. So that's just the difference. So this is our, okay guys, so and this is it. So I'm just going to open it up now for you to see. So basically this was how that gown was actually achieved. So you could see it. So the next thing, the only thing that is remaining is just for you to make balloon puff and then attach to this down part, that's this extended part of your sleeve. So this is where you are going to extend it to. This is where you are going to attach the balloon puff on it. So I have a balloon and sleeve on my channel in case you want to be able to do those ruffles on the sleeve from the picture. So I'll drop the link so you just watch it and then you know how to achieve those pinches that are on the balloon sleeve. So you just attach it to this point. So if you want yours to be more extended, for instance, if you want it to start from this point, all you have to do is you just measure from your shoulder measurement. You made from where your shoulder stops, you just measure, and then you add that measurement to your shoulder, so that will now serve as the dolman extension of the sleeve. So that's just basically how this dress was actually achieved. So if you find this illustration helpful, please do not hesitate to hit on the like button, share this video with your friends and loved ones, and then if you have not subscribed already, please subscribe, like this video, and I'll see you in my next videos. Thank you so much, and God bless you.